Have you ever wondered what's the meaning or the purpose of your life? When I first started questioning on who I am, I took a lot of time. I spent a lot of time outdoors. I spent time meditating, and I just let my meditations feel right. Sometimes I would sit up, sometimes I would lay down, sometimes I would do expressive movements. And it felt weird at first because I'm like, this is not what meditation is supposed to be like, but it's what felt right in the moment. And through this journey, I have figured out who I am. And I have also asked to show me what my future looks like. And it was only a small glimpse, but the overwhelming joy and contentment and happiness that filled my heart and filled my body and my soul was astronomical. Like I couldn't even explain it. It was the same feeling that I got when I figured out who I was. But I wanted to share the reason why I do what I do. One is because of my daughter. Uh, you might know that her father passed away when she was 2 months old, and I have had to adjust my life because of that. Not in a bad way. It was just the situation that I was dealt, and that's what I've had to play my hands with. And so, if for some reason something happens to me, because eventually we all are going to die, I want her to have something to remember me by. I want to make sure that the lessons that I have shared that she could potentially go back and look at. It's almost kind of like a video scrapbook for her. The second thing is that potentially the growth that I went through, and not just with her father's death or the tough people who have really shown me the lessons that I've had to learn, is that I can help people in similar situations, because if they can have a supportive person to either guide them or help them or listen to them or just have a safe space to share what they're feeling, because for a long time I never had that. Part of it was that I was scared of losing people. I was scared of opening up to people, sharing my inner thoughts, because I felt that I needed to be stronger, that other people go through very similar situations and they have this outcome. And that really scared me to share my true deep feelings of what was going on in my life. And so if I can give that outlet to somebody to help just one person, that brings me joy to know that somebody is there to listen, to support, to guide, and to see that it is possible to get through these things, which I'm going to say leads me into the third point of is that you can get through tough situations. Sometimes when you're going through it, you think that it's never going to end. Having somebody to share their experiences with, to see the light at the end of the tunnel because they have already gone through it. Maybe hold their hand through some of this, to give them some encouraging words and to just be there for them. Because there are so many people out there that don't have somebody to just be there. You have family and you have friends, but sometimes you don't feel comfortable talking to them. And sometimes you can't afford to, go to a therapist or a counselor or a coach or join mentorships. And you want to find an avenue that can give you that way to express yourself, truly who you are. But I do want to go back to my second point, is I also want to give people the courage. I want to give you the courage to stand up for yourself, not in a way that's disrespectful, but I know for me that I was a pushover for a lot of my life. If somebody came at me, I would just shut down. Eventually, that I learned that I could grow and kind of make my bubble a little bit bigger. I could go longer. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still times where, when I first started, it would only be like a minute or two that I could handle somebody really just coming at me. Now it's longer, which is nice, but I know that I am not to the point of where I'm at, because even the strong people who I have decided to cut ties with, if they were to come back at me, which I don't allow that, part of it is because those people were more involved in my daughter's life. And because now she's an adult, I really don't have to have any involvement in it if I don't want to. But if they were to come back at me, there is a good chance that I might just shut back down again. But I'm also at the point where I might just come back at them, not in a mean or disrespectful way, but I also don't know if they truly see who they are or what they have done to me and her as well. And so I want to give you the courage to know your values, to know your beliefs, to know your boundaries, and to help you grow those boundaries and to enforce those boundaries. And then after that, it is coming to, what do you want? Because once you start to set boundaries around yourself with, your time or the people who are coming and going into your life, you could start to explore what it is that you really want. And that's an amazing feeling. At first, it was scary, and I had to step out of the comfort norm of even myself, but also social, standards that people kind of set. And I felt that I had to fall into that. And so stepping into the new person that I really wanted to be was scary. And I'm still doing it. I'm still growing and still achieving new goals that I'm trying to set for myself, such as, this YouTube channel. But I want to take the time to really just encourage you to, one, learn who you want to become. Two, start setting those boundaries. Um, you know, once you have figured out what it is that you really want. And three, potentially go to help somebody else. Because when you get up that mountain, look back down, because there's probably somebody right back down there who's, 2 steps behind you and just needs that little bit of encouragement. And that's what I want to do for you.